Welcome back, dear learners. Before the ad break, we were able to prepare the Creditors channel, and we were also able to post it to the Creditors ledger. Now, it is very important that you also know how to post from your Creditors journal to the general ledger. Now, one of the keys that are important in posting to the general ledger is knowing which account to debit and which account to credit. In that case, I'm going to introduce you to a word which we call the dead click. The dead click. I want you to write it as I'm writing. The D stands for debit. All right? So this is an acronym that you can use if you want to know which account to debit or to credit. The dead click. So we debit all our expenses. Make sure you're writing with me. We debit all our assets, and we also debit all our drawings. This D stands for drawings. We debit our drawings. Then we credit, so the first C stands for credit. We credit all our liabilities. Liabilities simply means the monies that we are owing to other people or other businesses. We credit them, liabilities. And then we also credit our income. And lastly, we credit our capital. We're talking owner's equity. Now, when we look at the creditor's control, I want you to tell me now, what type of an account is it? Is it an asset? Is it an expense? Is it owner's equity? Is it a liability? Definitely, our creditor's control is a liability. That means it's going to increase on what side? On the credit side. That means when you come to the credit side here, you will find a plus. But on the debit side, so remember, this is my credit side, and this becomes my debit side. On the debit side, my account will decrease. So we were already owing some businesses 12,200 from the previous month. In this month, we have purchased trading stock, stationery, and even some equipment, not forgetting packing materials. And the total amount of our purchases was 82,200. Now, we should be able to post that to our creditors control. So once we buy on credit, it increases what we owe to our creditors. Hence, you see here on the 30th, the total purchases from which journal? From the CJ is 82,200 rather. 82,200. Now, that means when I am to close off my creditors control, here the total is going to give me 94,200. That becomes my total. So I can come here and also have 94,200. And because I have no entry here, I can then simply say on the 30th, this is March. Remember in this column, you put your month, March 30, then I'm going to have my balance carried down now. How much is it going to be? 94,200. And then the following month, which is going to be what now? April 1, I'm now going to have my balance brought down, which is going to be my 94,200. This is how we would post it to the general ledger. Let's quickly look now at the next one. Trading stock. What is trading stock? An asset or a liability? Thank you. Trading stock is an asset, so it will increase on the debit side. So I'm going to take my 69,000. Then when I come here, I'm now going to say creditors control 69,000. The next is my equipment. Did I buy any equipment? Yes. How much was that? 10,000. You can see that there. Okay. So I'm coming now to say creditors control 10,000. Remember, in your general ledger, these are all under your balance sheet accounts section. All right? And then now, you're now going to find we have others, such as stationery. Stationery is your expense, So it will increase on the debit side as well. Why am I saying that? Remember the debt click. We debit our expenses. So I'm coming here to say creditors control 2,200. You know what now is left? Which account is left? Yes, your packing materials. There is my packing materials. And then what is packing materials? It is an expense. So it means it will now increase on the debit side as well. Hence you see creditors control, and then I have my 1,000. Okay, I still have one more thing that I want to explain to you in this lesson. And that is what we call the accounting equation. Okay? And therefore I'm going to say in the packing materials rather, creditors control, and there I have my 1,000. I would then move on to posting to the trial balance. Let's quickly post to the trial balance. Remember, your trial balance has the debit side as well as the credit side. Now, your creditors control, you remember we closed this off earlier on, and we had an amount 94,200. Therefore, when I bring it now under my balance sheet account section in the trial balance, where do you think it goes? Nominal accounts or balance sheet? It is a balance sheet. So I'm going to come here and say creditors control. And then I will come to my credit side. I'm going to have my 94,200 because it is also on the credit side. Remember, this is a liability. And then I'm going to come to my trading stock. Trading stock, remember, it is an asset, hence it's on the debit side. So I will have my trading stock. And the amount on my trading stock is 69,000. So I'll come here, 69,000. The next one is equipment, an asset as well. Equipment, so it will come under my balance sheet account section. And equipment is 10,000. Stationery, remember what I said? Stationery is an expense. That means it will come now under my nominal account section. So I will now say stationery over here. Stationery. And how much is my stationery? 2,200. Why on the debit side? Because my expenses increase on the debit side. And the last one is packing materials. I'll come here and then I'll say packing materials. How much do you see there? 1,000. After this, my dear learners, let us go and we will now do the accounting equation. The transaction reads, bought trading stock from Shabalala for 40,000 rather. We bought trading stock from Shabalala Traders for 40,000. Which account do we debit? We debit our trading stock because we have received trading stock. So once we debit trading stock is an asset. That means I'm coming to my assets plus 40,000. But we bought it on credit. Hence, we will credit our creditors control. Crediting creditors control means increasing creditors control. And remember, creditors control is a liability. So I'm coming here to say plus 40,000 on my liabilities. Does it affect my owner's equity? No. Hence, you have a 0. The next one then reads on the 18th, bought the following from Euradebe: merchandise for 10,000 and stationery for 2,200. That means we're going to record them separately now. So let's start with the first one. We bought merchandise. Remember, that is trading stock. So I'll debit my trading stock. Once my trading stock is debited, which is an asset, I come to my assets plus 10,000. And then I will credit my creditors control, which is a liability. That means under my liabilities, I have plus 10,000. Any effect on your owner's equity? No. 0 over there. And then the next aspect has to do with stationery now. We will debit stationery. Why? Because stationery is an expense. Once we debit an expense, it will have an effect now on my owner's equity. All right? So remember, stationery is an expense. And once we debit an expense, the effect, is it a plus? No. Remember, on your honest equity, this is what you have to know. On your honest equity, expenses will decrease your honest equity. So I want you to tell me, is it supposed to be a plus here or a minus? It is a minus. So here you're going to have a minus 2,200. A minus 2,200. Why? Because stationery is an expense. All right? Now, here's another test that I have for you. When I credit creditors control, do I have a minus 2,200 or a plus 2,200? It has to be a plus. Why? Because your liabilities are increasing. So here it becomes a plus 2,200. There. So, to summarize that part, when you have an expense, your expenses will decrease honest equity, minus. And when you have paid, or when you have had that expense on credit, therefore your liabilities will increase and you have a plus 2,200. So I wanted you to get this part very, very carefully. And then the net effect therefore becomes 0 because you have a minus and a plus. The net effect becomes 0. My dear learners, thank you so much for joining me in today's class, and I hope to see you again very soon. Please take good care and goodbye.